Yay!
What is going on?
Lucas has all new situation going on here.
It's a hot mess, and we'll just say it. Talia is under the weather tonight, so y'all just wish Talia well. I'm here in my barren office. It's gonna be a weird night, but it's okay. But we cannot leave everyone without a song.
Don't leave him hanging,
Right?
Lucas.
What
And
are we
I'm a
gonna
different
do?
person. We're gonna do a different song. So we're gonna do a minor key, and we're gonna go StreamYard and K and KW and Tammy and Bobby and Kathy and Jennifer, Lee and Emily and Sphere and Giggles, Tim and Lauren and Brandy, Stacy too, Matt, Rachel, Jeff, Rick, Adrienne and Julie and Tammy and Giggles again and Peggy, ooh, Justin, Jody, Cindy, Martin, and Kent and Katie, Kathy, Leanne again, and Nicole, and Jennifer and Matt, and Adam and Christy and Lucas and Bobby.
Hey!
It's not Talia, but it's the best I could do.
I don't know. We may have to do that from now
That's
on.
pretty fantastic. And I think we need to adopt the dance you were doing. I want to see
That's good. Yeah, Adam
every
was.
time.
I can do that without song.
So cheers, yes, cheers everybody. Welcome. There's a dog. Oh, I have a dog. The door is open, so that's Gus. I'm mirrored. I'm so off. That's
y'all
Gus.
are lucky. Normally, when Lucas sings, he gets paid for it. So
that's true. That's very true. My
you get a
house
free
gets
show
paid from
here.
singing. So there you go.
People love the Lucas song, but we've got something. Maybe it's fitting that this is such an unusual look to the live stream because we have a pretty unusual book to discuss today. Just the first half of the book, Piranesi.
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 The audiobook is pronounced.
And Christy has a recap for us.
Yeah, this was a really hard one to write. Like,
I hope it starts just like the sections start.
Well, there's something about an albatross.
Yes.
Okay. So Piranesi is helping the other find his great knowledge and makes plans and make plans for the ceremony. Piranesi tells the other that he doesn't want to search for the great knowledge anymore, and the other tells him that he does this periodically and forgets things and convinces him to continue helping. And he lets him know about 16 and how he should hide from him. The prophet appears and talks to Piranesi, warning him about the other. And 16, Piranesi figures out that he has forgotten things by discovering that even though he's only on journal 10, he has referenced journals into the low 20s. Yeah. He's also reading all the bios of all of the other people or something.
Yeah, so sure, we can recap this book, but I think that there's the thing about this book is that and I was saying this to Christy, I am so glad that we are all reading this book together because how do you talk about this book to somebody who has not read it?
God, I don't know.
I have no idea. But the good news is it looks like that y'all are digging the book in the comments section. And I guess I'll start. I am too. I don't know why. Because it's really weird. And I just have to preface I'm reading the physical book just in case that makes a difference. But it is strange. It feels like, you're introduced to this very unusual place and this character who we see, this very unreliable narrator who we're getting this world through their eyes. And, there's a lot, it started kind of slow. It had a lot of exposition, but then you start to peel away these onion layers about what's going on. And the more that I did it, it started to grip me. And again, I can't maybe through this discussion, I'll be able to explain why. But I will say for all of you Calcutech fans out there, this book is giving me pretty strong hard-boiled Wonderland vibes, but just the half that was in his head, if that makes sense. I'm getting strong, what is this world? What is this character? Who are these people? And it's taking place in this weird sort of surreal place. And I don't know, maybe I'm off base, but it's giving me I'm getting flashbacks to how I felt reading those sections of the Hardwood Wonderland book. For better or for worse, that book had its issues. This book, I feel like, is a little bit more gripping, and that's all I'll say about that so far.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I'm really liking it. I know I saw a ton of people writing in the Facebook lounge that they had trouble with it just because they were trying to actually visualize everything and really learn how everything is. And I learned really quick that this is a good book to just let wash over you. And a lot of you, I think, felt that way too. Like once you figured that out and did just start letting the story wash over you and stop trying to like actually get everything set, like I think it becomes a much more enjoyable book. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's just really cool. And I'm just so impressed with the author. I love how she's like slowly revealing stuff and how she's making you care about the story, even though like I still can't explain what's happening. Like it's just crazy, but I'm loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's taken me a while. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it, and I'm listening to it, which I actually think is almost to the detriment because I don't know if I don't know. It's a good narration, but I can't stand when audiobooks have hour and a half like sections because I can't find a good stop. Like I like an audiobook to be like, great, give me a 10-15 minute, 6-7 minute chapter so I can feel like I completed something and I can move on. And they very well could have done that. It would have been really long chapter names, the 15th bathroom down the left corridor of the eastern gate behind the wall kind of thing. But now that we've reached the point, it is a beautiful cover. Wow. I didn't know it was actually
Yeah.
like golden. That's really pretty. I have to look at Tally against the physical books. I can't touch them because I'll like put my smudges on them. But I'm just now kind of getting to the point where I'm getting into it, and it feels like if I were to equate it to like a video game, it's like in certain video games, you'll go around and you'll find bits of paper or audio diaries, and you're discovering the story through that, and it's almost like now Piranesi's discovering the story through her. Is it a? Did we decide?
It's a him.
It's a him.
Yeah. His own journals, right? So it's and I thought that was kind of cool, like the whole like revelation, and I guess it's a revelation now. I don't know that it was all on him scratching out, the two and basically starting back over. So I don't know. It's starting to come together, but it's all a fog, and it is a very unique world. But I think I'm just in that really confused state that I hope it buttons up really nicely. That's my only worry, is that I'm going to just be like, that was weird and it kind of made sense, but I just hope it ties together nicely in the end.
So
Yeah.
Jeff makes the argument that he doesn't think Piranesi is an unreliable narrator because he's telling the truth as far as he knows it. But isn't that kind of what all unreliable narrators do in terms of like,
Unless they're outright lying to you.
unless they're outright lying? I mean, there's the unreliable narrator that is lying to you as the reader, but then there's the unreliable narrator in the sense that like they believe what they believe, but it's not necessarily truthfully representative of like the situation or the circumstance. And I think that's kind of like what we're getting there. I mean, he is very very meticulous. He is eternally optimistic, even when he kind of gets down. Sometimes he knows how to take care of himself in this world. He understands the house, even though we don't. And he's just been living there until for some reason. Can we point to when the status quo became no longer? Like we introduced Piranesi in this world and how he lives and exists, and he meets with the other like twice a week.
At 10 o'clock.
At what point? Yeah, whatever time means. What is that? Where is it when things start to sort of unravel? Is there like a thing, or does that just kind of slowly, like, because he's been living like this for a while.
I mean, I think once like in this story that we're getting now, I think when he decides that he doesn't want to search for the great truth anymore or the great knowledge anymore, that's when like things start unraveling for him, because he learns that, or he's been told that his memory is going, and he learns that there's a 16 and that he needs to avoid him, and then the prophet comes, and like I feel like everything kind of snowballs after that, even though it's happened before.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then a big giant. We recently watched Rescuers Down Under, so all I could think about was the giant, the big albatross from that the whole time. So
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds about right, Christy. I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
People are pointing to when he spent the night in the special room, or with Battersea, and
Oh, the batters. Yeah.
Battersea.
Battersea and the special room. I think you guys are right.
Lauren says it's interesting that he writes like an adult but speaks like a 13-ish year old. He doesn't reason well, but he understands the house so well. Yeah, he does have a very childlike quality to him.
Yeah.
Even though he says he's around 35, which, I mean, when I was 35, I still felt like a child. That was so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Battersea, that was the other told him about that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he asked him if he remembered Battersea.
It's like,
and
dude,
then
you're tripping.
Yeah, and that's why he thought that it was the other that had the memory loss.
Oh yeah, so he thought the other had memory loss. And he was like, "Nah, it's him. It's not me." And then he was like, "Oh, it is me."
What have I forgotten?
And as we reached sort of the midpoint, we learned about 16, who we have a whole part dedicated to after this midpoint.
Yeah.
But we also learned about the other people.
Yeah.
So we were introduced to the prophet, who is apparently this deranged, perverted
Kettering?
professor fellow.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, or no, Ketter. Sorry.
No, the Ketter is the
other.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the prophet's
The prophet's name is Lawrence Sales or something like that. Lawrence something.
Arnsales?
Arnsales.
Yeah, something like that.
Who is this psychopathic professor who has done some pretty horrible things to people, but also found this world.
Did he do horrible things to people though? Because
He locked the dude in the
He did
wall,
lock a guy in a closet.
Did he though? Because I read that as if the dude had been in the world that Piranesi's in for a long time, gone crazy, and then came back. And maybe he did lock him in the wall after that.
I've done that.
And then the guy pooped and peed so much that it was like coming out.
Okay. Yeah, there's some negligence there.
Yeah, but he kind of, it seems like, based on what I'm getting from this guy, that he like preys on young boys or men or something like that. And does some pretty. He's got.
Matt mentioned too. He confessed to having committed more crimes than he was accused of too. So yeah.
So this guy's done some shit, and but we learned about him and his followers, these students of his, that are all sort of cultish about this world, and we learn of one particular character that was interesting to me was Sylvia D'Agostino or something like that, who was a filmmaker. And she made one film that was highly regarded, and then she made this other film that is just like known as The Castle. It's not titled The Castle, but it's like she went in there with a Betamax camera and filmed this thing. And for some reason, that the idea of this film taken in this just these moving images of this place is really unnerving to me. I don't know why, but it just gives me like the sense of like, it gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies.
It's like old silent films.
Yeah, Matt said the same thing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly.
It's like the old, and you just get these weird cuts and like, and yeah, I imagine that like the film quality is just not the greatest either, so it just paints this really
just
weird,
disturbing.
surreal.
It's like the movie from The Ring.
I don't know if anybody's read it, but the movie really reminded me of House of Leaves.
I've not read that.
I know you haven't.
Have we read it in this book club?
No.
Read it.
But it kind of had the same feel.
But yeah, it's just like these random images of this bizarre place. Like it was really disturbing, and so I'm getting these like hints of this kind of like it's the way Piranesi is and acts and sort of reveres this place is kind of a contrast to other things that are giving me this. I mean, they all seem to be. And maybe it's just because I just watched the Stargate episode, but it seems to be kind of this like addiction to this place a little bit, and then like they have this need to go back. Even the guy who was trapped in the closet was like, I want to go back. Or like he would find a place like the museum or something that gave him comfort because it reminded him of this other place.
Yeah.
So Carrie's on your page there. Oops. Leanne's already suggested it. But yeah, so like they want to go back to this place. It's because I watched the Stargate episode where they became addicted to a place they went to. Everything, and there was just a boy there who was just kind of there. It was very Piranesi like. I think Piranesi was inspired by this one episode of Stargate, if you ask me for real. But yeah, so we're learning things about these other people, and there's other people that have come up, like I don't remember, but there are. And the one guy whose name came up that I don't remember starts with an O, maybe.
Yeah, there's an O, I think.
I
don't have a list of names for this one. John Ritter is the one
John
behind
Ritter.
the wall. Poor John Ritter.
John Ritter
Ripped
was
himself in the wall
from Three's Company.
Oh, there's a list of people.
John Ritter is no longer alive comedian. Ovenden, that's right. Thank you, Bethany. Ovenden was Steve. So we're learning about all these people, and we're also learning this through Piranesi's journals. And when I read first that he started dating his journals with actual months in the years like 2012 and 2011, I was like, huh, that's interesting. And now I'm like, aha, something happened to him while he was here, and he sort of got enveloped and brainwashed by this place.
Yeah.
James Ritter, not John Ritter.
Oh, sorry.
John Ritter's in Three's Company.
Yeah.
And
See,
Bad Santa.
I feel like
And Stay Tuned.
Looking through the actual book, I feel like you almost need to read this one. Like the audiobook is good, but as I just flip through, like there's some really weird typeset things that they do on purpose. In the next section, I'm not going to read it, but it's really weird, and I'm really going to be interested to see how they handle that in audio form. Just with how it's set, how it's spaced, how it's typed, and how the words are actually written, because they're not full words. So I don't know. I feel like I wish I would have read this one physically instead of listened, even though it's a good audio recording. Too far, too deep.
The hot Italian dish.
That's right.
Yeah. So these journal entries that he has discovered, where he's actually written very detailed descriptions of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like he knew he was going to forget?
I thought he was doing research of people that were connected with the house before he went into the house. That's how I took it. Because there's also like a photo in there of one of the people. So like I kind of assumed it was like almost a scrapbook to a certain extent, at least the early ones. And then he brought them with him.
So he's documenting everything, and then he eventually kind of loses himself in the.
That's how I read it.
Labyrinth. Yes. It's his favorite statue next to the lady with the beehive.
You know he's there, old Belvedere.
And what is with
he
the
is the
statues?
17th person.
I mean, you get these mix of like classic Greco-Roman things, and then more just like man sitting on balls. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, Julie Turner Wheeler said that she thought he was working on a book about the
Mm.
house, which makes a ton of sense.
Oh yeah. Oh my.
But they did explain the statues, or the prophet, I think, explained what he thought was happening with the statues. That it was like, as things happen in the real world, it like is represented in statues in the house.
The woman with the beehive, the monkey, the with the gorilla.
The Minotaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's lots of things going on. Ken says it seems like there's some time loop elements. Jennifer says, "Is this an abused person escaping his mind?" Yeah, I kept putting Alex's comment on here, and there was another comment up here too about it feels weird. Adrian said it feels weird reading a narrator that I feel is being almost abused in a way, like it feels almost exploitative, and it seems that way too. And then Alex chimed in more. It'd be comfortable if it was third person, but coming from a first person view of someone who doesn't know if he's actually crazy or being majorly gaslit.
Gaslit.
It's super intriguing. Yeah, it does feel like he is part of some experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other is there to find some great and secret knowledge, which sounds.
I think that's why he's there too, though. But I think he's kind of been sacrificed a little bit. They're like
kind of lost in the cause.
And they just kind of seeing how long it takes before he totally shuts down, like poor Ritter.
Yeah, but he's definitely kind of a pawn in this game.
Oh, absolutely. And to see like the way he feels about the other and how they're like best friends in his mind, and like he means so much to him, and their work is like his life goal and everything. I don't know, it's the other is clearly using him, and it's so wrong.
And the other, and it's like not even thinly veiled that the other is kind of annoyed by him unless he needs him.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and especially when it, we got the prophet and how the prophet talked to him. The juxtaposition of that was so interesting because it's a very different kind of conversation that they had.
The house causes memory loss. Does that kind of explain his childlike state? Piranesi would be in a vulnerable state, would believe whatever the other would tell him. Dementia patients also regress in behavior. Yes, it's an interesting perspective.
It is interesting.
Yeah, and then just as the narrator has definitely seen some things, but also seems happy, definitely happier than the other. He is very content there. Like he is not trying to change things. He's trying to like research and discover. He thinks that's his role, but he's just trying to gain knowledge, but in kind of like an innocent, respectful way of what exists. He's not trying to like
change anything.
Think differently. He's not challenging his notions. And when his notions do get challenged, he kind of like hates himself or something, and he's like, okay, I can't think about this. I need to take good care of myself. So we had a whole chapter. It was like the day I decided to take better care of myself after the albatross and the year of the albatross and all that stuff.
I did think it was really interesting, the whole kind of religion he's built up about the house. I don't know. Every time he mentions any part of it, it's so fascinating to me. Like when he is leaving the prophet or the other, like the words that he says and like the way, just his mindset, like the house provides and the house wants him to have this knowledge and stuff like that. I don't know. The whole thing, it's really interesting to see that unfold.
I thought the other's personality. Yeah, that was really well done. Emily says, does he have more memory loss / effects from the house because he's explored more? Is that why the other won't explore, go look at the sky, etc.? I guess we're gonna hopefully we're gonna find out.
Yeah, maybe. But I kind of assume the other comes to the house twice a week and spends the rest of his time in our world.
But then he goes to the other world. And he says, "Wait a minute, this isn't my world." Disappointed.
Y'all should look that up. Tell them how to look it up.
Yeah, if you get that joke, good for you.
Yeah. Tell them how to look it up. Hercules disappointed, right?
Yeah, Hercules.
Yeah.
The house wants him to forget.
Yes.
Bobby says the other is the only other human in this world, so Piranesi will want to hang on to that friendship.
Yeah.
And, he sees the other from across the way, and he's like,
Yeah.
and the other's just like,
Y'all remind me when the prophet first arrived, Piranesi heard voices and smelled diesel, like it was a boat, maybe.
I took it as it was just like a street scene with like people walking by, and yeah, he smelled like
Maybe.
petrol, and it was like, okay, is this some kind of
I forgot
portal
about
to the world?
Yeah, no
in the
spoilers.
shadows.
that. No spoilers.
But yeah, no, that was super interesting to me.
Oh, that was a really because he went to the spot and he could hear people talking, and it was like he's like listening to that's again giving me like major hard-boiled Wonderland vibes.
Yeah, it's just like a couple guys that felt like just talking about work stuff, and then it just passed. But yeah, it was like a glimpse into our world.
Yeah, I thought it meant Piranesi was close to the border between worlds. A portal to the real world. Piranesi can hear the conversation. Yeah. Kind of these like, in the midst of all this sort of like meandering and exposition, you get these nuggets of like, and then you're like, it's just enough to make you want to learn more about what's going on here. Because, if we were to really like analyze like what happens, there's a lot of nothing in terms of like action. Like there's a lot of just him like explaining things and describing things and just existing, and we're learning about the world, which is important. But in terms of action, like there's not a lot. But every once in a while,
almost none.
she like throws you this thing and like gives you a piece of just a nugget of mystery that makes you want to keep reading. I guess it made me want to keep reading.
Yeah, like the torn up scraps of paper. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's lots of, like you said, there's lots of little breadcrumbs that I just hope it all ties together, and that there's a bigger revelation that makes me care a bit more. It's not that I don't care, but I do. I think you get lulled into this in the early part. You're just kind of bombarded with this repetition of the descriptions, and you're like, and I get it, but what's happening here? So
yeah, and like and talking about like how smells are, they trigger memories and that sort of stuff. Like Piranesi knows what things are, even though he shouldn't. If he has truly existed in this world, he shouldn't know what petrol is. He says he doesn't know what university is, but he really does, because
or Birmingham when he's Birmingham. It
Birmingham.
basically alludes to images of the city, skyscrapers and lights and people, and
yeah, I was actually just going to mention this. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say it's funny because we live in Birmingham and I live on Nottingham Drive. So is my house like a portal? I don't know.
Maybe.
Do I have someone trapped in the wall pooping and peeing themselves?
I guess we'll find out.
Guess we'll
the
find
next
out.
Discussion.
Where is Talia? Where is Talia?
Joseph's little reveals remind him of Lost. Lots of feelings about that show. But I was going to say the same thing in terms of like this book is giving us a lot of things to chew on and like ruminate over, and like we want to peel away the onions. But if you do what Lost did and you like end it like you did, I'm gonna be upset.
I know the ending of Lost, and I wanted to watch it, and then it got spoiled, and I was like, damn, now I can't watch the show. So I've never seen Lost because I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the crisp bags. Crisps are chips.
Chips.
For those of you who don't know English, British English. The book does a really good job of throwing you out of your norm so that you hunger for any nugget of familiarity.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, we're existing in this surreal world, and honestly, it gave me some weird dreams, I think. Not that I can remember them.
Or were you just entering the house?
Maybe I was. Maybe I never went to sleep. I have a hard time remembering things, so I would like to explain it with that. Is Talia really in the house? She's in the statue house, the castle.
She's
Mike
fishing.
says that it reminds him of Memento, the Christopher Nolan movie. Memento. That was like told in a weird structure. So worst ending was Game of Thrones. Oh yeah, now people are talking about Lost. So that's
Okay.
cool. That's cool.
So Rebecca said, how did he call it the year of the albatross before the albatross showed up?
That's what I said. That's what I said. I said
No,
that.
Rebecca.
Yeah, but I
said
said that also, Rebecca. We also said that. I also
Rebecca
said
can say it too, Adam.
Yeah, we both said it.
that.
But I said the same thing. I was like,
Did he?
We were
Did he
in,
before?
we were in the car, and I remember I was like driving because I was driving, and I was like, how does he name the years about things that there's some years a whole lot shorter than others, or is he just like basing the years off of like major events that happened to him? Because like, what if he sees the albatross one day and then 2 days later something else happens? Like, are we in a new year? Like, how does that work?
I'm gonna agree with Matt Scalisi. If anyone's ever played Myst, the hit PC game of 1995-96, that blew everyone's minds with its graphics at the time, it is very Mystian, because in Myst you have these two brothers that are kind of quarreling. You're dropped into this world and have no idea what's going on. It is kind of Greco-Roman in some ways, and like you're learning things through these books and little nuggets of information. So yeah, that's a good correlation.
Bobby says, I think he went back and named the year whatever he thought was important that year. What if the albatross had been before? Matt says, I think he's telling the albatross story as a flashback. Says he didn't write about it when it happened.
Oh, maybe.
So these things happen before he starts his writing up again for the new year. And as we, I think, have experienced it, he lives in a world where things don't happen. So when anything happens, I guess it's worth naming the year after. The dog is drinking.
Sorry.
I don't know if you can hear that.
He's so loud.
Look at my quiet dog. See?
You look at him. He's so cute. He's a
being a
little
good-
puffball
Good dog.
licking his hands or something.
Gus.
Hey, buddy.
Oh.
Look at him.
He's like, what do you
He's so
want?
cute. He's so cute. But yeah, so like, he lives in a world where events are important. Well, now we're making comparisons to
Oh, Carrie makes a good point. I don't think there's any reason to believe a year is 365 days for Piranesi. And yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think his years are all discombobulated. We're making comparisons to The Hike.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason.
Adrian actually asked, did this book confuse you more or less than The Hike?
The Hike didn't confuse me. I was never confused by The Hike because I was just like, I was just expecting the unexpected. It was like The Hike is like just going to throw random stuff at me and I'm just going to be there for it. This book actually makes me want to figure it out more than The Hike does. Like The Hike was more like, I was waiting for the ending to happen in The Hike. Like I was waiting to kind of see it all tie together. But this book is laid out much more like a mystery.
I think you're right. I think because The Hike starts in familiar territory in the real world and then enters kind of, the story, I think that plays a part in that. This one just drops you into like, what the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it kind of leaves you to try to figure things out for yourself through the eyes of this person.
Yeah.
The Hike was actually a much more straightforward story than this.
I guess the pieces were clear. It's clear. It's a clearer story.
Yeah.
They're clearer pieces.
And it was much easier to visualize despite the insanity that was happening in The Hike. Like those were images I could connect with, even if it was mouth zombies.
Here we go. Brandy said the house is more of a straight line. The hike, excuse me. And then the book is a mystery to be unfolded as you go. This book is.
Yeah.
So Adrian also asked, what about Hard-Boiled Wonderland? Which book confused you more or less?
See, there we go. That's that, Adrian. I'm
So-
getting lots of hard-boiled Wonderland vibes here.
I'm hoping I'm gonna like this one better in the end.
I already
all
do
I'll
like
say.
this one better, but
Yeah, I could agree with that.
the hard-boiled Wonderland had two distinct sort of stories in it that were related for sure. But the hard-boiled Wonderland had the story of the Calcutech fellow on the outside, and then like this bizarre Piranesi like in the head kind of world, and then waited to kind of merge them systematically throughout the book. This book at least doesn't do that. But I think this book, just in my opinion, is like a little bit better written and structured. Mostly because, well, no, the Hardboiled Wonderland was first person too, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I tried to forget.
Nobody had names in the Hardboiled Wonderland either. Um, the year of the crab. Yeah. What year is this? In the thumbnail, I said it was the year that they finally released Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I'm trying to stay away from all information from. So don't post anything about it. I don't want to hear anything. I'm going next week. It's going to be so good.
They catch ghosts. Spoiler alert.
Damn it, Lucas!
Ugh,
Sorry.
Lucas.
They bust ghosts.
So, what were we talking about?
Versus Hardboiled Wonderland.
Hardboiled Wonderland. Yeah. What are your comparison thoughts? Did you compare it to? Did you get any Hardboiled vibes from this?
I mean, I guess a little bit. I don't know. I haven't really been comparing this book to anything because I don't know if I've read anything that reminds me of it. It's just
And you've read a lot of things.
I have, but it's just really, I don't know. It's been such. Someone else said it. Let's see. Dan said, I was confused by Piranesi when I read it, but I didn't mind because it was such a joy to read. And that's kind of how I feel. It's just been really nice. I've really just been enjoying it. So I haven't really been comparing it to anything, but you compared it early on to We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
It was the writing style of Piranesi that I compared to We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Like he gave me like Mary Cat vibes because We Have Always Lived in the Castle was told by sort of this stunted young who was old, like she was like 18 or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
18, 19.
She wrote like a 7-year-old. But and Piranesi kind of has that same sort of like childlike wonder and like
more childlike than they necessarily should be.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that just reading Piranesi's the way he sort of like presents information, it was very We Have Always Lived in the Castle. But as this world unfolded, I got a lot of Hardboiled Wonderland, but just the end of the world part of it, not the Hardboiled Wonderland.
Just the end of the world part.
If that makes any sense. For those of you who joined the group after we read that, sorry, that book was weird.
It was fun though. I mean, not everybody enjoyed it, but I liked it.
I didn't hate it. It was interesting. I would never have picked it.
It might be my least favorite book we've read ever.
Oh, Alex said it reminded him of Shutter Island, and I can see that. I can totally see what you're talking about.
So Carrie says, "Have we Googled Piranesi? Isn't somebody posted way up here?"
No, I'm waiting until we finish.
It was something about architecture, and so it was fitting. I glanced at it. Whoever posted it from, but it has to do with. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Kira.
Try not to learn too much about it, but I did think that was interesting. A classical archaeologist, architect, and artist. So it could be a symbolic name entirely.
Well, we know that it's not. Well, he knows that it's not his name.
Mm-hmm. He calls me Piranesi,
and he didn't know why.
Rebecca's doing the real work here. I hope you found what you were looking for.
You're welcome.
So somebody even mentioned like learn your Greek mythology. I am admittedly not well versed in Greek mythology. I probably should know a little bit more. Sorry, I'm not as learned as I would like to be. Piranesi is the hot Italian dish, which is just a weird phrase. What I wasn't expecting when we first read this book, I was not expecting this book to have any sort of connection to present day, and I was actually like really pleased and excited when we got that, because I thought I was going into this thinking that this was going to be pure fantasy, like we were going to live in another world basically. But then when it described the other for the first time, and he seemed to be wearing like just a normal
Suit.
like,
Gray
suit,
suit
and
or
he
something.
had like a device that gave off light, I was like, this guy is wearing regular clothes and has an iPhone. And that was like my first taste of like, oh, this might have some real world connections. But so I'm really intrigued and happy that there's something that kind of grounds this, even if this world exists. And I'm hoping we're going to learn a lot more about like the where and the why and the what and the
Yeah.
how.
Well, the prophet dude, the professor guy. What?
This
Yes, that's fair.
I agree with that, Alex.
The prophet guy, he was talking about his teachings, and this world with the halls and the statues was only one of his theories. He had a couple of different ones, and I don't remember the details, but like, I even wonder if we're going to go to other alternate worlds too by the end of this book.
Yeah, I feel like the prophet and the other are basically like bopping into this one, and Piranesi's the one that's, why is Piranesi stuck there? Because I feel like the other ones are just dropping in, checking on things or whatever, and then going back to our world. Maybe. Who knows?
maybe. Justin says, "Ooh, imagine the spreadsheets Piranesi can make. If only he had Excel." Christy would be like, "Oh yeah, give me that statue spreadsheet, and like based on location, based on room, hall.
Build me a castle."
I will say that I learned what the word plinth means by reading Piranesi. I was not a big user of the word plinth, as evidenced by how difficult it seems to be for me to say the word plinth. But
now you do.
We're talking about Piranesi being kind of a jerk in his former life. The prophet made reference to Piranesi being annoying, right? And now he's like this like kind, sweet guy. So like, do we want him to go back to being an a-hole?
A regular human?
Regular human. Like, what is so bad about this place? You know?
Drives you crazy and makes you lose all your memory?
Yeah, but is that so bad?
I mean, you get to fish and explore. It's kind of like Adam. It's kind of like a weird roguelite game, He's just like constantly like finding the next thing, and
it's
kind of reminded me of Hades.
It's a procedurally generated castle. His spreadsheets will never be accurate.
But it feels like that in some ways. It's
It
like
kinda
a
does.
moving, ever-evolving, changing thing. The floors are collapsing. Yeah, it's interesting.
I've never seen the word vestigial used so much.
Yes. So Rick Wiles asked, who is the enemy? Is it 16, the other, or someone or something else? Or is all of this a figment of his imagination? Is he hallucinating all this? Not the house itself or the dead, but is the other and 16, if there is a 16, actually real? Is Piranesi actually alone, and has he just been alone far too long and has lost his grip on reality? I know that was a lot, but
10 questions.
Yeah.
But so who is the enemy? I guess we have to define like what good and bad are in this world, because
I mean, I'm getting strong enemy vibes from the other. He's using Piranesi to get this great knowledge to like profit for himself and himself alone.
Yeah, I mean, he wants these special powers, and like Piranesi I guess the enemy as it relates to
That's hilarious.
as it relates to Piranesi, the prophet is definitely an enemy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like everyone's got an agenda here except for Piranesi, and Piranesi is just a pawn in the game.
And he might have started with an agenda.
He may have. So, I'm expecting there to be some twists and turns. But yeah, that reminds me when you said like, who's the enemy? Is it 16? Is the other? When he was going through the known people in this world, like the 15 known people, and he was like listing these people that he knew, all the dead people, and then he got to the last person and was like, and the 15th person is you.
16.
The 16th person is you, and that freaked me out. I'm gonna be honest. Like he broke the fourth wall, and it scared me. I was like, oh, he can see me. Oh, I don't like this. Which was a fun feeling, and it was kind of fun. But I'm wondering if that's gonna if that's just a sort of in passing, like you're the person I'm writing these journals for. I don't know who you are.
I think he assumes that the next person, 16, will read his journals after he's gone. That's kind of how I read it.
But yeah, he all of a sudden I'm like reading and he's like, it's you, and I was like, it's not me, it's not, I'm not there. So this felt the same way when he broke the fourth wall.
Leanne said she thinks everyone but 16 is an enemy.
Yeah, well, it's like, if everyone says 16 is the enemy, plot twist.
Plot twist, not.
Oh, Peggy has a plot twist.
Piranesi is stalking himself.
What?
Chasing his own tail.
I have no idea where this story is going to go. I mean, literally, it'd be interesting to put bets into just for fun and be like, okay, where's this going, and then see who ends up being the closest. Because I don't know, I don't feel like I had enough. This would probably be a good book to go take out into the desert with you or something, and just like, find some sort of mind-altering substance and just like read it and be like, whoa, dude, it's Piranesi.
Yeah, he does have this weird relationship with the child bride.
He has a weird relationship with all of the remains.
That's
like
true.
He
and like
goes and talks to all of them and brings them offerings.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, the thing with the birds. I forgot about that.
The albatross?
No, the birds talking to him, sending him messages.
Oh, yeah. So he was, that was bizarre. I think he does like to read into a lot of things. He reads into the statues. Like he goes and like looks to the statues for like answers. He's like, thank you, frog hopping on a whatever. He does have this. The house does have this like godlike thing for him, and he sort of worships it and serves it. Glory to your house. That's a Star Trek reference. That's Gowron. But what was I going to say?
Oh, what if it's the dude that was locked in the wall, and he's like in a coma, and he just wakes up at him.
Oh my gosh! And he's in bed with Suzanne Plachette, and he's like, "I had the strangest dream."
He's not in a coma.
Is he not in a coma?
No, he's working at the courthouse or whatever, the place with the big rooms that reminds him of the house.
Oh, that's right.
What?
The
Ritter dude?
Ritter, John.
Oh, right.
John Ritter.
James
Ritter. Josh Ritter.
Poor Ritter.
Ritter fellow.
There haven't been crabs in this yet, is there?
No.
There's been an octopus.
There's probably a statue of a crab somewhere, though. We didn't even talk about like the floors, like the bottom floor is the ocean where the tides kind of make their way up and around.
But the different kinds of tides too, which is so interesting.
And then the top floor is the clouds, but everything is inside, but there are courtyards.
And there's windows.
Yeah, and you can see stars.
I thought when he went to sleep in that one room with no windows, that was such a cool moment because he was scared to go in there, and he finally went in there. And then when the moon shone through the doorway and it like put the light on the one statue, it was so interesting. Like I could feel the emotions that he was feeling, but also he said that was the only place where it felt like there might be lots of people like in real life, like just because they were all there together, all the statues, and they were all like kind of interacting. I don't know. I just love it.
That was a cool moment.
Good visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish I need to go reread that again because I didn't have the same sort of. Maybe I was trying to like skim it or something, but I definitely remember it. But yeah, Jennifer says love the moon imagery. I want to read books like Christy does. Don't we all? That's what we aspire to be. But yeah, that was a cool moment.
And just how much it meant to him.
I mean, there's a lot of things that mean things to him.
That's true.
He has his favorite statues. I don't know how you pick a favorite out of like 3 billion statues. He knows his way around this place better than
Intimately.
like I don't even know my way around this house like he does.
Speaking of that though, I kind of got a chuckle out of him losing one of his bowls. I don't know if you remember, like
Was it the one of the bowls that the other gave him?
Yeah, and they were all like gray and blended in with the background, and he just lost one because it misplaced it.
But then
Yeah,
he got
he
excited
remembered.
because he got colored bowls, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Some of the things that the other has given him have been interesting.
I
Like,
love the list. That was just kind of charming and really childlike, but it was fun.
I think the other's just like hitting the dollar store before he comes in, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got you some Saran wrap and
some socks.
And he's so inconsistent too. Like one year, like he gave him one thing, and then one year he gave him 12 things, and I don't know. It's just really interesting.
Yeah, he has like a list of like things that the other has given me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the hair accessories. Oh, that was interesting too.
Oh yeah.
That he like took out all his hair thing. What was the reason that he did that?
Because he needed to be quiet, and they made
Oh, right.
noise
Right.
in preparation of 16.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ham and cheese sandwich is list worthy for some reason.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
But
sounds
I
pretty good.
also think literally everything he's ever been given made it on that list.
Probably.
I thought him not asking for shoes, but the way he got the shoes was really interesting. That was such an interesting conversation because you could tell how like kind of stunned the other was. He just had no idea that it was like that. It's just interesting.
Let's all read the rest of the book right now together.
Kind of want to.
Some of
Well,
you
a
already
lot of
have it
people
now.
just kept barreling on.
I know.
So thank you for
Yeah.
not spoiling it for us.
Yeah, which is an interesting testament to the readability of something. That's the way I felt like reading the hike for sure. I was like, I got to know what happens next, and I'm getting the same sort of vibe.
The hike, I was ready for the hike to end. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about part 2 or the last half of the book.
I picture Robin Williams when he gets out of Jumanji. Says
What
Robin.
year is it?
Yeah.
He had taken multivitamins.
Well,
Yeah.
but the other gives him multivitamins really inconsistently also. That was part of the list. I'll
Take
find
your
it.
multivitamins. Wasn't that in a
It was
in
on
a letter? It
it
was
was
in a
in-
letter to
yeah.
Lawrence. It was like,
Yeah.
take your multivitamins.
So someone mentioned in the comments, and we didn't stop on it, but we were talking about Piranesi's real name, and they asked, does he even know what his real name is? Because when he wrote the letter to the person that wanted directions to the Minotaur statue, he signed it "Your friend" with no name.
That's the message to the other.
Oh, but I think let me find the other one then.
My bookmark said Chick-fil-A gift card.
But that was interesting too. He found the scrap of paper asking for directions, and he just like, even though he was told don't approach 16, he felt the need to like write out directions for him.
But he found the letter to Lawrence. Didn't he respond to that? Did he respond to that letter?
Oh, maybe.
And we learn later that Lawrence is the prophet, aka the psychopath professor, cult leader, whatever he is.
Oh, here we go. He also signed the other one to your friend, but it was to Lawrence.
Yes, because that one had Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Please try to remember to take your multivitamin.
I'm assuming that was to Ritter.
Oh yeah. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Christmas.
Nice.
Okay, well, we got 4 minutes left in this discussion. Christy's already said how she feels about wanting to read the rest of it, and I think this discussion has really like gotten me jazzed about reading the rest of it, just because like jazzed.
I love it.
Because I want to learn more. I don't know. I'm excited. I think this is such a fascinating book in which nothing happens yet. I just want to know more.
Something's about to happen.
It's like a painting of a picture that unravels.
Got painted.
I was trying to be deep and I can't.
Well, I will say I'm surprised we filled an hour. I was honestly worried with Talia not being here, and like we said, not a ton actually happening in this first half. That I was like, God, are we going to be able to talk for an hour? I have no idea, but we did it. I just am really hopeful that it buttons up really cool. That's my biggest thing. I do like the world. It's interesting, but I'm just like, I really hope the payoff is worth the weird.
You know what? I think it might be. I don't know, but
what? Oh, the payoff. I think it's going to be a good ending. I'm excited.
It really feels like the truth is right around the corner in this book, but always stays a step ahead. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to put it. I think that's what makes it kind of exciting. Is it's difficult to get ahead of this book. I got a little bit ahead of it when I found out the years thing and all that stuff because I'm a pretty smart guy. But yeah, this book is always staying ahead of me, and I like that. I think that's a good way of putting it. So yay! Looking forward to talking with everybody about the rest of the book. That's going to be really exciting. I don't remember the date that is. But
2 weeks from today.
The day before Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh!
That's crazy.
2 weeks from today. That's happening.
It's the 24th.
The 24th?
No way. So, no, it's like June. It's June.
It's at least like November 1st.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So 2 weeks. We'll talk about the rest of this book, and then y'all can go stuff your faces if you're inclined to do so. Another thing that's really, really exciting is the Secret Santa. If y'all have not signed up for it and want to participate, please do. I'll post the link in the comments because it's just a weird. If you're not part of the Secret Santa and you want to, you can just sign up at this link here. We did it last year and it was really cool.
And there's already 75 people
signed
that's
up
crazy.
for it.
75 people signed up.
How many people did we have last year, Adam? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was. I think it's definitely bigger this year. But you have officially you have 2 more days to sign up. The last day to RSVP officially is Friday, the 12th, and so make sure you sign up before then, because then I'll be drawing names after that, so that we can make sure we have enough time to actually like do the exchange or whatever. And again, we're talking about book themed stuff. It doesn't have to be a book necessarily, but if it's book related, book swag, that kind of stuff,
or a book,
be creative and fill out there's some like questions that you can answer on there that might give your Secret Santa a little bit more of a hint as to what you're into. So fill those out if you want to. It's all sorts of optional, but it was a lot of fun to do last year, and it was really fun to see what everybody exchanged, what people were posting in the Facebook group and all that stuff. So sign up by Friday the 12th, and then I'll draw names. Learn who your Secret Santa is. And let's just acknowledge that because of the way things are, you may not.
It may take a minute.
It may take a little while for things to be delivered and all that stuff.
And if you
So-
sign up, just please come through. That's all we ask. That's,
Yeah.
Or let us know.
or
that
let
you
us know if you
can't.
can't. Yeah, ASAP. And
Yeah.
it'd be cool if we got 100 people. I'm just saying that sounds really neat. And I think you know what I think I'm gonna do for my Secret Santa is I'll try to get them
It's
something off
secret.
their wish list, but then like I think I'm gonna find something that I like too, and just be like, ooh, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
do
definitely
something
another
fun.
approach. If you just want to share something you like with somebody else, that's what we're all about. 'Tis the season, if you
Tis
will.
the
There's a
season.
good
Oh yeah, if you
tip.
use Elfter a gift list for other exchanges, you have the ability to separate your gift list and designate one
Ah.
specifically for literally wasted. Again, it's a lot of fun. Sign up in that link in the comments. And
Thank you, Julie. And I think Dan mentioned something at one point to if you did it last year to make sure that if you had done a wish list or just make sure that's updated, because I think he noticed that when he got in, it was pulling his original stuff, and I think he probably bought all those books that he wanted or something like that already.
if you get Bethany,
She would love that.
yeah,
The
Yeah,
pokey
same.
little puppy.
Same. Wait, what?
Nintendo Power.
Oh man, I regret selling. Yeah. Anyway,
Another announcement. We have a book poll that is now closed
Close.
by a 2-vote difference.
Oh my gosh, these have been
2 votes.
so
Ooh, what
close
was it? I don't
lately.
know. What did win? I
The graphic novel that we are reading in December is Resident Alien Volume 1, Welcome to Earth.
Hey, I'm excited about that one. The Alan Tudyk show.
That
It
looks
just-
I've
really.
heard it's different than the show, but just know that going in.
It sounds like it's
looks
going to be
good.
fun.
Yeah.
Just a note on that. There is Resident Alien Volume 1, Welcome to Earth, which is what we're reading. And then there's also Resident Alien Omnibus Volume 1, which includes the one that we're reading, but it also includes 2 other volumes. So make sure you get the Welcome to Earth one.
Yeah, if you do get the omnibus for whatever reason,
We're only reading the first
talking
third.
about Welcome to Earth,
Yeah.
Okay.
Volume 1. So,
Okay.
because
Very
the
cool.
omnibus is like 300 pages long or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
then we're gonna talk about the whole thing in our live discussion like early December.
Yeah, so we do have plans for December. We'll have one live discussion, and we are planning on doing another lit
Holiday
wasted holiday
party.
party, kind of like what we did last year. Well, details to come. We'll figure out something fun to do. See if we can get you all involved like we did last year. That was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
So
That
so
was
we
good.
will still do 2 live streams in December. Only one of which will be a book discussion. The other one will just be a fun hangout time.
Mhm.
So stay tuned for all of that.
Yep.
Is that it? Any more announcements that we want to?
New website is coming.
Yeah.
I know that's not gonna. It's gonna come in stages. You know, you're gonna get kind of the website, and then who knows, maybe the shop will open back up at some point soon, and then maybe some other things will roll out. So, but yeah, trying to get everyone onto the website a little bit more for multiple reasons, but just to connect with y'all, and yeah, I think it will be laid out much better, and it will be 100% book club focused. So,
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
And Leanne asked about hoodies. We are pushing hoodies. We're still looking into it to find the best option, but we're not going to have that done by Christmas. So we're working on it.
Yep, we've got some samples. Just transparency, we've got some samples that we're looking at. Supposed to get one tomorrow, and but you know, we're looking at the same design, but it's just we want to make sure that we can deliver in a timely manner, and we're also just kind of worried with the holidays and all that. So it may be just kind of a post-holiday thing, and they may ship early 2022. So we'll see. We are working on that. They are going to come at some point, but I just don't think it's going to be a pre-Christmas holiday season thing.
Yes, Joe. Yeah, we'll make it a Tuesday
Ooh, yeah. That's good.
event.
We're definitely going to do something in February.
Yeah.
That's going to be just our month.
Yeah, start working on your Photoshops. But yeah, so stay tuned. Lots of fun things coming up. Second live discussion for Piranesi on November 24th, and then graphic novel time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But thank y'all for tuning in, and once again, send Talia your well wishes. We hope she feels better soon. sooner
Yes.
than later, and so that she can get back at it, reading and discussing Piranesi with us at the end of the month.
Yeah, she'll be back.
She'll be
Oh
back.
yeah, she'll be back. She'll be back. Don't worry. I just
But-
have to get her out of the other dimension.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's a highlight of our month as always. So we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.